growing up from birth until they're 18 years old is 56,000 times, right? We get told no 56,000 times.
Said no.
Listen, and that no becomes our laws. And it is not a coincidence that the U.S. government has 56,000 laws. The 56,000 laws of the collective node called the government is the same as our collective 56,000 nodes that we got told going up. So there's a one-to-one relationship. Our abuse and denial of our own inner child and not healing our inner child is the same effect. It is what we denied manifests outside. So what we denied manifests outside, the outside to the inside, and that's what 5D is. Remember, length, width, depth is 3D, time is 4D, but inside, outside is 5D. And everything that happens, or everything that you want to happen, happens in 5D.
Right, and we can touch on the fact that a lot of external, as we talk about external teaching or that external knowledge or that information, right? The information is all, there is a lot in spiritual communities, there is a lot of talk about ascending into 5D. And what you just explained about 5D is so well said. And that connects to what? To the inner self. And that brings us back to, we have to work on our inner core. That's the first and foremost thing. Without that, just like you showed right now, you know, without that core being and acknowledging that system that you showed from my video on Deception Reloaded or Deception Decoded, that's exactly what it is. It's, we gotta stop there at the core.
It's not out there. It's not out there. None of it is out there. It's in here. There is nothing out there that is not manifest, that is not from our denied subconscious, which is the core of our being. What covers the core of our being is the same crap we see out here. And when we start releasing what's inside of here, it has to change out there. You know what I mean? If you have an abusive relationship and then when you heal yourself inside, the relationship has to change because your internal atmosphere is completely changed. So then there's no more abuse out there because you've changed it inside, you see? It's all inside. What you have inside you is what manifests outside. That's what shadow work is all about. Shadow, the shadow that you cast over your pain and suffering and you decide to live in is what manifests outside and comes to you as fate. The whole of your description of your, whatever that thing was, the description of
Deception Decoded.
Deception Decoded, that's the shadow of every human being. And my work is about going in there, taking apart the shadow. You know, lifting up the couch and taking all the dust out from under it, you know what I mean? And vacuuming, cleaning all that stuff out. And that's and this is like, you know, you talk about the cure for cancer, the cure for all disease. This is on the same level as that. It's the cure for all suffering, the cure for all, you see what I'm saying? Because what, if you get back to your core of who you really are, which is, has no attachments, has no beliefs, has no denial, has no judgments, has none of that stuff, has no identity, has no plans, has no future, has no past. It is eternal and infinite and immortal, right? That is who we are. But all the stuff that we had, well, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a student, I wasn't good, I'm good at this, I have bad self-image, I have, you know, all of that. There's more too, because I'm not finished yet. Let me show you.
Hello, Wild Wisdom Warriors, and welcome to another episode of Russian Tea Room series. Today, I have my guest, Michael, on, and Michael is teaching language lessons of the heart. So welcome to Russian Tea Room, Michael. I'm so glad to have you here. Thank you for being here.
It's a big treat. It's, you know, this my information and this kind of healing stuff is new, and it's really good for me to get it out. And so it's a gift. You're giving me a gift, and I appreciate that a lot.
Thank you so much, Michael, for being here. We've worked a little bit in the past, and we know each other from the past. And you're familiar with my videos and what I talk about. And last year, I made a video about deception decoded. And this is what you like the most from all of my videos, is that really simple explanation about the matrix or the deception that we have within us, and how we as human beings, empowered human beings, need to step into our responsibility and to step in the core being of ourself. So today we're going to talk about that eternal core being. What is it? And how we as human beings can step into that healing self process. How we can aid other human beings in this information age, because there's so much information out there about empowering, about ascension, about spirituality, and all of that. But we want to come back to the core of ourselves and start from there, because this is the foundation for building realities.
Yeah, to get to our source, we have to become sorcerers, right?
Right.
You know, but people think of sorcerer as this bad wizard, but what we're really doing is transmuting pain into joy. You know, what we're really doing is transmitting illusion into truth. What we're really doing is transmuting separation into unity. And, you know, when you have enough unity, then you're at one with everything. And when you're at one with everything and you have unity with no identity, that makes you source. Unity without identity makes you source. So all the things that are in turmoil in your identity, all the things in turmoil with your world, all the things in turmoil with your past, all those things, when they're cleaned up, you're left with nothing. And that nothing is everything. Because only nothing can contain everything. And that's what source is. And it is absolute inclusivity and unconditional love. That's what it is. That nothingness and the deep vacuum of space is absolutely inclusive and unconditional love. And what we're doing on Earth is we got covered up with exclusivity. Every belief is exclusive. I believe this and not that. I'm supposed to do this and not that. So everything that is exclusive also is a separation away from unity. So we have lots of judgments, lots of beliefs, lots of traumas, lots of dramas that are limiting us from accessing our core self, our core being, our absolute inclusivity. Or as I like to say, to start with, is we're infinite and immortal in what was never created. Yeah? So we get rid of what was created, and only the mind creates illusion. But we don't have to create anything. We're already there. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's already there. And this is what we talk about, is the foundation of this is actually that core being. And when we get to that point, when we understand or embody what you just so beautifully explained, when we embody that, we understand what it is, that eternal pillar that of the creator self within. And then we can understand the Hermetic principles, as within, so without, or as above, so below. It's just, it seems simple. Those simple words are so powerful, but they're only powerful when you stand in your power, in that core being of who you truly are, which is eternal, uncreated, eternal, and it's love. It's unconditional love.
And it's 5D.
It is.
It is not 3D. It's not 4D. It is 5D. And like we said before, length, width, depth, that's 3D, and time is 4D. But what is 5D is as within, as without, is the inside and out. That's the fifth dimension. And that fifth dimension, you're not going to go to the fifth dimension as long as the external fourth dimension is so messed up, because we are the ones who made it messed up. We're involved. Even though we're the victims, we're also the perpetrators, because once we became a victim of abuse on the outside, we perpetrated the abuse on the inside. And when you perpetrate the abuse on the inside through denial, that's what manifests.
Exactly. And even in today's world, it is, when you look at it, at people that are stuck in that victim field, as I say, blaming others, that what usually it says, the victim, the perpetrators then becomes the victimizer. I mean, the victim becomes the victimizer. And that's just, even in today's world, in the basic psychology, it's very clearly understood that we create that within first. So and like I used to say, to accept that, first we have to accept that. And to accept that victim state of being, we are disempowered. And so that's why I keep talking about and bringing on guests like you that talk about empowering each individual, to give the ground and the foundation for each individual to empower themselves, to take the stand in that core self. And this is how healing starts, because you help others to step on this ground on this foundation of healing. And so I do the same thing with Wellpoint hypnosis method. It's the same thing. It's stepping into that eternal field, quantum field within, where it is not stuck in 4D, because it's in timeless. From what we know from quantum mechanics, quantum field does not exist in time. It goes beyond. It's within.
You couldn't actually do it. If you're stuck in time, if you're stuck in the now, you couldn't actually do any healing at all. Zero, zip. Because the kind of healing that I do, you have to go back in time. You go back in time because there is a you, what we call the inner child or whatever it was, our memories from the past, that you actually go back there and heal that energy. You're in the now, you're going into the past, you heal that energy. And when you heal what's happening in the past, it goes all the way to the future and you feel good now. That's healing in parallel time. That's 5D stuff. That is not 3D stuff. That's 5D stuff. And that same feeling that you heal from the past and it comes into the present, you feel good in the present, it also goes into the future, right? So then you're not going to have that issue in the future, right? But it doesn't stop there. It goes to your family. It goes to your parents in the past, even if they're passed on. It goes, because if the issue was with your parents, it goes to them, and it goes to your children as well. And then it goes out into your community. And so it's actually the exact opposite of how this world got so messed up. Anytime you heal one part of yourself, if it's a core part, in the past, it comes into the future and you start feeling relief. Well, I'm not feeling that anymore. It's gone, right? And then that is what gets propagated out around you into the next circle, into the next circle. And that's as simple as it is. I mean, it's work and it's painful to do it, but it has results. The results is the end of pain.
The results are incredible. And for me, you know, what I'm seeing with Wellpoint hypnosis that I do, it's amazing how it's so empowering to a human being to see that they can heal their ancestral line. By healing yourself, you heal your ancestral line backwards and forward. And that's what's amazing about it in today's world, that we are at the point of this awakening to the human being standing in its own power, that we are that powerful. We're that powerful that we can heal. And through the quantum mechanics, we can actually have a conscious awareness of this, right?
Yeah.
And what you do with your process of healing that you present to your listeners, and if you, Michael, if you want to go into that a little bit more in detail, because it's beautiful what you talk about. It's empowering to each human being, and that the field, the biofield that when we start cleaning out our own house, right?
That's what it's all about. In a way, it's mundane. You know, it is not something exotic. It's actually soul cleaning, house cleaning. You know, getting rid of stuff that doesn't work for it, doesn't fit anymore. It's something that a 6-year-old it worked for a 6-year-old, doesn't work for a 56-year-old or a 46-year-old. There's a core understanding to my teaching, right? That we have 4 parts of self. We have 4 chambers in our heart. You know, we have 2 arms, 2 legs. There's a lot of things that have 4 on it. And one of the best examples is the light from the sun. It's white. It's one thing, right? It's one thing. But if you put a prism in it, it breaks it into blue, yellow, red, and green. You see? So it's those 4 colors that are in one. And we have spirit, heart, will, and body. And like I said earlier, you have this idea. Here's the thing. People don't have self-love. And I'll tell you exactly why people don't have self-love. Okay, if I say, like I said to you earlier about the tree, right? If I say to you, tree, do you love a tree, right? And what happens inside of you? You have a picture of a tree. And maybe it's a tree that you love, right?
Right.
But it's just an image. And you know, it's your personal image of the tree, right? But if you can actually walk out of your house and walk up to a tree and put your hands on the tree and feel that tree and say, I love you, tree, and I embrace you, tree, you're in 3D. You're in actual contact with an actual tree, and you can love it. Or the same thing with the dog. You can get your dog and you can love your dog, and you see what I'm saying? But you can't love the idea of a dog, right? And you can't love the idea of a tree. It just doesn't work. Except in kind of a metaphorically, I love trees. But it's not that personal connection. So when people say, oh, you have to love yourself, well, our self is an idea. And we go, well, we look around like, how do I love myself? What is that self? How do I do that? You know what I'm saying? So it's an abstract. And so people can't love themselves in the abstract. You see what I'm saying? See how it's bizarre that is? So the biggest, everybody wants love, everybody wants to give love, everybody wants to receive love, but then nobody knows how to love themselves. And yet we have the spirit, heart, will, and body. And when you get introduced to those parts, which are the colors of your one true self, they're the 4 bands of frequency of your one true self, then you can love your spirit, you can love your heart, love your will, and love your body. And this is really important because the combinations of this has to do with the adult to the child, the man to the woman, the government to the people. See, all these dynamics are the same. And whether it's coming from the head to the heart or the head to the body, you see what I'm saying? All these kind of flows, you can begin to work out what's going on in 5D, which is the skin in. So here's a question. Maybe we should do a demonstration of how this works so that people have an actual demonstration of how they can communicate with their spirit, heart, will, and body verbally. And the reason why I say this is because this is actually a core teaching right here. The way we become wounded, all of our wounds and all of our problems and all of our stuff happens automatically, subconsciously, non-verbally, and invisibly. Yeah. When anytime you turn it around and it takes the subconscious conscious, make the invisible visible, yeah, and make the nonverbal verbal, and take what was automatic and make it into a method, a process, right? A ritual. When you do the ritual, then it changes. You see what I'm saying? It's a deliberate action. So things happen to us automatically, and you want to change that, you have to do a deliberate thing. So this is a process. It's one of the processes I teach called talking to the parts of self. And let me back it up a little bit and show you what I'm talking about. Right now, we're talking from our head. You're talking from your head, and I'm talking from my heart. Everybody's feeling we're that one light, but it's all focused out of the head, right? But if you have a child, or you have your lover, or you have a little puppy or a little baby or something, and you're holding it, you go, oh, doggy, doggy, love you, love you. All of a sudden, your voice changes, your feelings changes, your body changes, you know, everything, your gestures change because you're being in your heart. Oh, I'm loving my little dog, or my husband, or my wife, right? You're in your heart, right? Now, if you're angry, or you're upset, yeah, or you're happy, really extra happy for some reason, then you're in your will, you're in your emotional body down here, yeah, and your voice changes. That, you know, my damn phone is not, you know, right? Your voice changes. You see what I'm saying? Or oh, I'm so sad that, you know, so-and-so died, or my dog ran away. You see, you feel bad, right? So your feeling body, your emotional body, when it takes over, your voice changes, a different voice. Your body, right? What happens when you're really, really hungry? What do you say? You say, I'm hungry. I'm really hungry. Or really tired. I'm tired. I'm so tired. Your voice changes because you're coming from your body's taking over and saying, I have to eat, or I have to sleep, or maybe I have to have sex. You know, there's that whole energy of that sex thing too. So that's the backstory, just to let you know that it's already happening, but it's happening on a subconscious level, and it's automatically, non-verbally and invisibly, you don't even notice it. So all we're doing is taking what you're already doing and separating it out so that you can pay attention to your spirit, pay attention to your heart, pay attention to your will, and be with them and give them what they need. This is a whole completely different thing than what we've ever been taught before. So you ready to try it? Okay. The way it works is like when you were little and you had little sock puppets, and you cast your voice, right? So our little dolls, and you go, hey, how are you? What's your name? And I'm Mike. Oh, my name's Billy. You see what I'm saying? And what I'm doing is I'm being me, and I'm casting my voice into my hand as the character.
Right. There is a different vibrational signature that you assign yourself to that character. So that's what sound's all about, because I'm all about healing with sounds. And so that's vibration. So you change the vibration, right? Different signal.
Right. And you just see that as a little entity, and you project into the little personality and the voice and everything. And you can have two of them if you want. That's how you play with your little dolls. Hey, I'm blah, blah, blah. You see what I'm saying? You have that's how it works. Everybody can do it. But here we're going to use it for therapy and to create an internal atmosphere of love and cooperation and to get alignment. You know what it means to be authentic? Does anybody know what it means to be authentic? Listen to this. It is when your head, your heart, your will, and your body are all going in the same direction and all in agreement. Then you're authentic. But if your head wants to go one way, your heart wants to go another way, your body doesn't want to do anything, you see what I'm saying? That's not authentic. Then you have to force it. You have to pretend. If you're sad, you have to pretend to be happy. That's not authentic. So authentic, this is what's nice, is to be authentic. So here's what I want you to do. I just described to you that you have these four parts. Spirit, heart is in here. Will is down there in your lower three chakras. Heart is the center chakra. Top three chakras is your spirit. 1, 2, 3. Heart chakra. Heart chakra is actually 3 this way. It's 1, 2, 3. But it's another thing. And then your body energy. So here's what you're going to do. Just imagine taking that energy into your hands, and what you want to do is look at it, because it has to be visual, right? And speak to them out loud. Nothing in your head, like nothing in your head. So it's got to be out loud so your ears can hear it. And then when they speak back, you cast your voice and let them talk back. So here's what you do. Gather up your energy of your head, of your spirit, and you say, hello, spirit. Very nice to meet you. And wait for spirit to reply. Hello, Michael. Long time no talk. See? And say, okay, we'll talk to you later. See? That'll be the introduction. So you try it with your spirit. Just pull that energy out and just say hello, like an introduction.
It's kind of funny, because this is what I do in with Wellpoint hypnosis, is actually introduce people to to themselves eventually through the vibration, and you take that and then you actually, what I call it, higher self. So you talk to your own higher self, and you
I'm going to get to that.
and you allow your higher self to speak to you, because it is.
I have forgot about that. I'm going to get to that and more.
Okay. All right.
This is just the beginning.
So you're saying
hello, spirit. This is your spirit. So you say hello, spirit, like this is your friend.
Hello, spirit.
Yeah.
Good to meet you.
How are you doing? Yeah, that's it. And then what does spirit say? Let spirit talk back to you.
Hello, Lily. Good to talk to you again. Different vibration.
Okay, I'll talk later, or something like that. We'll talk more.
Right.
But we got 4 to talk to, so we're just kind of make it kind of minimal to show people how it's done. Okay, the same thing with your heart. Just pull your heart out and say, hello, heart. Very nice to meet you formally, and how are you doing? So whatever feels natural to you from your heart.
And the same thing, right? And then you can
look at your hands, because it has to be, remember, you have to be visual, auditory, and a method. This is the method, and this is taking the subconscious, making it conscious. So it seems simple, but
it's beautiful, Michael.
Yeah.
So heart. Hello, heart. How you doing today? Hello, Lily. I'm doing great. Thank you for checking up on me. We'll talk later.
Okay. Your belly, the lower 3 chakras, your root, your sex, and your belly.
Mm-hmm.
They are the deep feminine. They're the emotional body. They're the inner child. They're also the deep feminine. So just gather them up and say hello, and hello, my beautiful Will.
Hello, my beautiful Will. Hello, Lily. How are you doing today? Doing great. I love you.
That's good. There you go.
All right.
Your body. Just imagine pulling all the energy of your body and put it in your hands, and looking at your hands and say, hello, body. How's it doing? How are you doing? Nice to meet you, or whatever you feel.
Hello,
right.
body. Nice to meet you in this way today. Hello, Lily. Good to meet you too. Thank you.
Okay. That was pretty simple, right?
Right.
But as you said, it can get a lot more complex, because let's say you have dramas and traumas in your life. I'm not saying that you do, maybe you're okay, but most people have issues. So you can say, how's it been? How's it been to be my spirit? Or how's it been to be my heart? And then you're actually being a therapist to your spirit, heart, will, and body. Yeah, very powerful. Then let's say you're looking for a new man, or you're looking for a new woman, right? Well, once you build up trust with your parts, you can say, Spirit, what do you think of this new person that I'm interested in? And they'll tell you, right? Heart, what do you think of this new person that I'm interested in? And they'll tell you. See what I'm saying? But the main thing is to build an internal atmosphere of love and cooperation. And so, which gets me back to my empowerment. And my empowerment looks like this. I'll show you the empowerment, see if I got it here.
That's beautiful exercise, Michael, by the way, because it's realigning you to your core being, which is all of that in balance, what I call an eternal pillar of who you are. And that includes that.
Well, remember what I said about the tree. You can't love a tree as an idea, and you can't love yourself as an idea. But now you have these 4 opportunities to love each part. So when it comes to doing therapy, you know, like your inner child work, well, that's in your emotional body. That's in your will. That's where your inner child is. So if your will is in pain, then it's you actually talking to the part of you that is in pain. Or your body is in pain, it's you actually interfacing and caring. What do you need, body? You see what I'm saying? So the next thing we're going to do is this empowerment, where this is the empowerment. I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will is the mother, right? If mother's happy, everybody's happy. So that's what we want to heal emotional issues, emotional triggers. So can you say that empowerment?
I am empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help?
Will you help? Okay. Do you think you got that one? I'll coach you, but I want you to say that to each of your parts because it's an agreement. Remember what I said about alignment? Alignment is an agreement. So, let me see here. That's the empowerment. So say to your spirit, I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? Okay.
Spirit, I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? Yes.
Okay, so thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Spirit. Then you do it to your heart. I'm empowering myself.
Right.
With a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? Yes. Thank you, heart. I am empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? Yes. Thank you, Will. I'm empowering myself with the strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? Body. Yes. Thank you, body. All right. So that's the exercise.
Now the empowerment is one of my processes. There's the empowerment process and the talking to the parts of self process. So you've done 2 processes in just now. And for the first time in your life, for the very first time in your entire life, you know that you're in alignment because you have you know you consciously, not subconsciously, but consciously know that you have an alignment to have to empower, to create an internal atmosphere of love and cooperation. I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. That is like the magic. That's the mantra. That's what you want to do. You want to heal the will because all your wounds were because of the conflicts and stuff between your spirit and your heart and your will, right? When we were hurt, and it got polarized into that, and that's how you can heal. So you're congruent right now. Yay. Okay. But listen, where this gets to be really serious is, like I said, if people have illness in the body, or here's the thing, people have this idea of what to eat to be for health, right? Well, now you can ask your spirit, your heart, your will and body, well, what do you think I should eat? What should we eat to feel better or to heal? And they will tell you. And if you do what they say, once you build trust, if you do what they say, then they will heal the body. You see? What to drink, what to eat, how to be. Who should I get a new job or not get a new job? Should I stay with this person or not stay with them? So with this process alone, okay, you have self-love multiplied by 4. That means you have 4 times more self-love. And you have 4 times more intelligence, because we've just been relying on our insecure mind. But now there's you, and you can ask your mind, you can ask your heart, you can ask your will, you get a whole consensus. So it's like, what's the dangers of this? Should I do this? Should I not do this? You see, it just completely gives you an actual process of dealing with what's going on inside of you, which most people have no clue about. And like I said about the tree, you can't love a tree in your imagination, but you can love a tree in reality. And now you have the reality of 4 pieces of yourself that you can love and take care of. Because really, when you start talking about it, heart takes a beating in this world. Everybody's heart is blown out. The number 1 issue in the world is heartlessness. And that is thoughts having to run the child, run the life, and not connecting to the heart. Government doesn't connect to the heart. The military doesn't connect to the heart. The economy doesn't connect to the heart. No business connects to the heart. And then because of that, it all goes down to the emotional body, right? So the heart of humanity and the will of humanity and the body of humanity gets left out. It's heartless. So every issue in the whole world has to do with heartlessness. Poverty is heartlessness. Disease, the medical industry has heartlessness, and heartlessness at the root. And heartlessness inside us has to do with the mind not connecting to the heart when it goes about doing things. Yeah. So this is a big shift.
This is where we have to start. So let's get a little bit more into connection of that to what is happening in external world, because it's and how that expresses and why it's so important for each individual to step on this empowering self path, because it's only through this empowerment of individuals that we can then make change and difference in the external world. Yeah, and what is going on in the external world, it's a big mess, right?
And that's just what I was describing. It's a big mess. But the external world really is a reflection of the internal world. There's nothing that's happening up there that is not happening in you, in here with you. Whether it is heartlessness, or whether it is trauma and drama, or pain and suffering, turmoil, guilt, shame, and blame. You know, we grow up in an atmosphere where the pressure to be in this society is so great that our parents are under tremendous pressure. And instead of being able to be accessing their heart in a natural way, they give us rules and regulations. No, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. Stop doing that. Clean up your room. You have to look better than that. Your hair's not right. Everything. So we get told no, 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 and the no goes into our will. So we have deny our will. What we will, we wish, and we want gets denied. So then we take on this fake persona, or we get afraid to speak in public, or we get afraid to ask a pretty girl out, or we get afraid to start a new business because all we've got inside of us is this big no in order to fit into the culture. So the culture is a little bit like a disease of the soul, you know?
Right.
What you have to pay in order to watch for what you get.
Right.
And a lot of these things are very traumatic. So, like, I'm not good enough, right? If you get the message, no, there's everything that you wanted to do, everything you wanted to try, to play, to whatever, you got told no, then you get, I'm not good enough. And it's a bad self-image. And then I'm not good enough as a parent, not good enough as a child, I'm not good enough as an adult, I'm not good enough as a worker. And that just demoralizes you, right? It's the number 1 issue for a lot of people. Depression.
Right. It just leaves you empty and leaves the shell around you of those rules and regulations, who you're supposed to be, or an idea. So you were living that idea, like you were talking about the tree, you're living the idea of yourself, and it's just a shell. It's not real you.
Right. Right. And we build up a system of identity that's based on the no's, the can'ts, the shouldn'ts, or my education is this and my money is that, my finances. None of that stuff is real. None of it's connected to the heart. None of it's connected to the tree that you can hug. None of it's connected to nature. So we're separate from our human nature, and we create a false nature. And then that false nature becomes painful because it's not alive. It's like carrying around a dead weight or a mountain, you know, of expectations, of guilt, of shame, of blame, and, you know, victim consciousness and all that kind of stuff. It gets very complex, but the principles are very simple, but then it gets very complex because, like I said, if you have a bad self-image, it goes into a cluster, yeah? Or how about this one? Because think about this. What if at 4 years old or 5 years old, you come to the conclusion that there is no love for you? What does that do to your life? Right? Maybe you become a subservient person who helps everybody trying to get love, yeah? Or maybe you become afraid to reach out for love, or you, every time you get love, somebody who loves you, you sabotage it because inside you, the core of your being is, I'm not allowed love. Yeah? So basically, your whole life is screwed beyond pain, beyond what humans can bear. You're just hollow. A depressed person has absolutely no access to one drop of love. It takes one drop of self-love, and you can't be depressed. So when you erase the possibility of love in your life, you talk about devastating stuff. And guess who ends up paying the price for all this? Is your body. They've already shown that it's almost 100% one-to-one correlation between the disease and the emotional issues you have. If you carry on emotional issues, you're going to get a disease in the body. For example, let's say somebody has a rough childhood. When somebody has a rough childhood, yeah? When somebody has a rough childhood and they're mad, they're very angry, but they're in a society and their family and friends expect them to be happy and sweet and nice. So they're very, very angry at their core. Their belly is angry and full of rage. And they put a cap on that. They suppress it. And then they act nice and they're very pleasant and they're loving, right? Their persona is loving. What happens is it goes into the joints. That rage goes into the joints and they get, you know, arthritis or fibromyalgia or something like that, where their whole body is inflamed because they can't move their rage externally. They can't consciously, you know, it went in subconsciously, or they sabotage stuff. You see what I'm saying? So it becomes a complete mess. As soon as you start suppressing your emotions and making a fake persona, which is what the government is. The government is a fake persona. They're not even real. It's a cartoon. They don't care about you. Just like your identity cannot care about your heart. Only you can care about that. But the fake person can't access their spirit, heart, will, and body. You know, they can't do it because it's not. They're in the imagination of what it's supposed to be like. You're supposed to be rich and famous. You're supposed to be beautiful. You're supposed to have a certain kind of body. All those kind of judgments and beliefs that cause separations because they are exclusive, not inclusive. And that's when you get told no so much. You get this so exclusive. You get so exclusive that you can only exclusively feel bad, right? And here's what happens: is we make chemicals in our body based on our emotional reactions. If somebody says boo to you, boo, and you jump, do you know what that is? That is 100 trillion cells making the chemicals that in your body that shuts down your digestive system, thins your body, increases your heart rate, adrenaline and adrenaline, and listen to this, it shuts off your immune system. So these people with high anxiety are saying boo to themselves boo, 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 and they permanently shut down their immune system. What's that going to do to you? You're going to get sick in the long run. You see what I'm saying? So this is not some little game we're playing here. How much disease do you see in the world? And every disease in the world has its roots in emotional issues. And then on the other hand, this is painful. All this stuff is painful. In the United States, right? 1/3. So we got 300 million people. That means 100 million people are on antidepressants, anti-anxiety, depressants, different kind of Xanax and all those kind of things, right? And they're also drinking and drugging at the same time. That is 1 out of 3 people who are on pharmaceuticals to deal with the pain, which is in fact emotional pain. This is not a small deal. This is a big deal. Big deal. Big financial deal. Big family explosion deal. Go into the relationship. If your spirit and your will are not working together and they're wounded, right? Just your mind dominates your feelings and you're just one of those, right? Then you're going to get a relationship with a man and woman where the man is dominant and the feelings are subversive. And then you have the man abusing the woman, right? And then you have the whatever war that's going on inside of you ends up being the war between the man and woman, and you end up being in a relationship with your wounds, not with a person, not with a soulmate, not with a star. You're in a relationship with your wounds. So the man acts out his need to be dominant, and the woman works out her need to be a victim. And then if either one of them stops being either dominant or a victim, then the relationship is over, because you were never in a relationship with a person. You were in a relationship with your wounds. So healing and evolving the emotional body is a big deal. It is a big deal.
So agree with you. I've been talking about this for years now, Michael, as you know. And that, just to bring back a little bit, you talk about, antidepressants and all of that we kind of understand that that's emotional body problems that people are not willing to look at. And so this is a form of escaping. And then people try to escape, which exactly happens. The same thing happens in the spiritual communities when people try to escape their own work, their own shadow work that they need to do to be able to free themselves, spiritually speaking. And we see so much of that escape, pattern running all through all the communities in all of the society. You take everywhere, every layer of our society is in that state. Everyone's trying to escape somewhere or ascend.
That's what ascension is. They want to ascend away from their pain. There's no ascension. Ascension doesn't happen because you're already infinite, immortal, what was never created, right? That's who you are already. What they want to ascend to is to get up out away from their pain. And let me tell you, spirituality is the greatest way to do it. I know, because I used to do 6 hours of meditation a day. I had the best guru in the world, and I had God realization. And guess what? After I had God realization, after I had meditated for 15 years, and I would walk by people, and they would see a light go through their head because I walked by them. Guess what? I had to do my healing work. I had an emotional crash. I did my shadow thing, have my midlife crisis. It has nothing to do with it. It's the best place to hide from your pain is to go into the Godhead and be cooked with light. But I tell you what, it does not touch you. It does not touch your emotion body. It does not touch your pain body. It doesn't fix. Well, it gives you a bunch of energy and it gives you a bunch of this kind of love, but it's like a drug. If you're not in there doing it, it drops out. Like the people who get Satori, right? You can get the Buddhists, they get Satori. They get Satori 30, 40, 50, 60 times, right? They're in Satori, and then they come back down. And then it's worse because they still have this. They want to be in Satori, well, they're not in Satori, so they're back down here. It's the same. What's the difference between Satori and heroin? It's about the same.
No difference. Or like I had some people do ayahuasca all the time, just to get some spiritual insight.
100 trips of ayahuasca.
And they're sick themselves in their bodies. and they don't understand what's going on. And so and this is so great that we talk about this, because we talk about the foundation of self-healing. Without stepping into it, spiritual or not spiritual, no matter how many experiences, like you just explained, you had in that Godhead, until you take responsibility for aligning your own self into the eternal pillar, and you take responsibility for your biofield, and you clean your own house, you can take that ayahuasca 24/7, and it will not do one thing for you to align you until you yourself step into your own power. I've been talking
and Kundalini, you can have Kundalini popping out the top of your head and just be, you know, be a super genius, and you still have to do your healing work. You say after 20 years of having your Kundalini and you settle back down, you still have your wounds that you have to take care of. You still have to do your soul cleaning work. It doesn't absolve it. Okay, I'll take you one more step. So we have enlightenment, we have Kundalini and ayahuasca, and one more step is the near-death experience. The people who go into death, you know, okay, they get love, and they have a changed view of the world. They know that there's a higher being. They know all that kind of stuff. But when they come back, you know, they have more love and all that kind of stuff. Well, that's great, but they still have to do their work. They still have to heal the stuff. And the reason why is because on the subconscious level, we allowed this stuff to happen. So it was us that made the agreement to have it to happen. So nothing, not even God, can change this stuff for you, because you have an agreement with your own wounds that you will keep them until you can release them. And that's why enlightenment doesn't change it. The ETs can't change it. The angels can't change it. You see what I'm saying? They can take one chunk of something away from you, you know, and a good healer can take a few chunks away from you. But when you take responsibility for cleaning your own house, and you learn how to clean your own house, then you can heal. Then you can heal like on an amazing level. Then you become a sorcerer. Then you become responsible for that purity, for being the adult that is actually an infinite and immortal soul. And you cannot playing around as a wounded, finite, whatever, you know.
And so that this is what I also talk about a lot, is that power, when you are empowered in yourself, and you're not driven by this, what you were talking, that when your biofield is that beautiful field, this is, you regenerate your body, you're in alignment, because all of the disease, as we talk about, comes from that misalignment. That's all of the disease. So I know that a lot of people talk about healing and healing themselves, but they want to heal through this external modalities, which you and me are back. And even though I work right now with one-on-one with people, but what I work with is hypnosis that with music. So basically what you're talking about that you do, it's a similar process, except it's through the hypnosis, to where you immediately go into that alignment, and you yourself do all the work. I don't do any of it. It's all about music and you yourself aligning your mind, body, and soul to that, as I call it, you know, as they say in the typical world. But what we talk about, and what you were talking about, this for you, right? For, as you talk about in Hermetic principles, those are four elements. Four elements as transmuted into, yes, and then there is the unifying element, which is ether. And all of those, they're not separate, because one contains the other one in, and it's just all connected to the source, because all of it is unified within you, within source. Beautiful.
Yeah, that's what it is. See, there, that's this thing, mind, which is actually spirit. So it's
Right.
they don't have will on here actually, and that's always will always gets let. So mind and spirit is the
But
same
you have
thing.
mother there. You have mother, and that's basically.
Yeah, it's the mother is the basically the will. But you know you get the idea that they don't have it quite right because here's the thing. Remember when you're talking about your root of the false god, right?
Right.
This is very powerful. Okay, the root of the false wisdom or whatever it was
False god program.
root of the false deception. Okay, what they did, what happened to us is because we live in our head. Everybody started living in their head, right? And then that created a religion, and the religion went from polytheism to monotheism. When it was polytheism, God is in the tree, God is in the water, God is in the air, God is in the cloud, right? But monotheism is there's just this one God, supposedly the best God or whatever, right? But as soon as you went to monotheism, what happens is that was the God the Father, and there was no mother. And for a long time, we have been an unmothered race. Metaphorically, we have been unmothered. So the wound of being unmothered, you know, we have a father in heaven, but no mother. You know what I'm saying? The Catholic Church tried to make it together by having Mother Mary, and that she's a big deal. But she is a big deal. But that's intellectually and metaphysically.
Right, like you were talking about, it was just an idea. It wasn't real. It wasn't real. But when you align
and we were
will, then it becomes real.
God the Father was his asshole. You know? Drown everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not a great metaphor, but that was the metaphor for the mind that we had when we're not connected to our heart, which would be the sun of creation. We're not, you know, there's a spirit and will is the man and the woman, and the heart is in the middle, the heart of creation. And that's where you have the God the Father, God the Mother, and the heart of creation. But to get back to the four parts: spirit, heart, will, and body. In the Bible, I think it was in Matthew or one of those guys where Christ was asked by one of those guys, Philistine or something, you know, what is the greatest? They were talking about what is the greatest commandment. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever heard of that one. What is the greatest commandment of all the Bible? And Christ said, the greatest commandment is to love God with all your spirit, all your heart, with your whole spirit, with your whole heart, with your whole will, and with all of your strength in your body, right? So he said, and then to love your fellow man as you love yourself. But first you have to have your whole spirit, your whole heart, your whole will, and your whole body. You see what I'm saying? That's why this is so powerful, because as you love yourself inside, then you can love outside. You can't love your, you know, if you don't love your heart, you don't love your body, you don't love yourself, you've got self-hatred, you don't love your hair, you don't love your skin, you don't love your age, you don't love your intellect, you don't love your sex, right? All this stuff that people have, how are you going to love somebody else out there? You can't. Yeah, so you start with, you know, hello spirit, hello heart, I love you, and start a relationship with them and get them strong. And then, as you were saying, and rightfully so, as you were saying, let me bring this one up about
right. And I think this is where kind of back to what we started with, is that foundation for how to truly love yourself is you have to step into that empowered you and take responsibility for aligning yourself fully first. And that's how you truly love yourself, is you do this work for you.
Right. So what I was trying to bring this back to something you said earlier about the inner child and the higher self. So you have these four parts, but in your inner child has a spirit, heart, will, and body, right? And then you as an adult it's like we're adults now, you have a spirit, heart, will, and body, right? But it's the same one, it's just they're just a different frequency. And then you have your higher self, right, as a spirit, heart, will, and body. So if you're an adult and you start connecting to your spirit, then it can either go to the spirit of your inner child or to the spirit of your higher self. But it can also go, because this is identical, okay, to the highest self that there is, which is the inner God, which is God the Father. Spirit is God the Father. Heart is the heart of creation. Will is the mother of everything. She's that big void in space. And body is the father of manifestation, form. Everything that has form, everything that has shape and form is the father of manifestation. So that is you know, what I'm not really sure what they call it, superposition. So everything is nested inside there. So if your will in your inner child is wounded, then that's going to affect it right across to the mother of everything. Okay, this is important. Okay, if your will of your inner child and your will as the adult is wounded, then that's going to block what you're going to get from the higher self, and it's also going to block the healing of Mother Nature, the healing of Mother Earth. Yeah, right. And if your heart's not good, if your heart of your inner child is not good, then it's going to affect your heart as an adult, and you're not going to be able to access the heart properly of the higher self, and it'll affect the heart of creation, the God of heart. And that's how it works. So as soon as you clear this stuff out, all of a sudden all these guys come to balance. It gets back to what we were saying. This is what happens when you embrace your four parts. If you don't have that connection to those four parts, then you can't work on all these processes that are going on inside you already anyway. So what happens is our spirit is good, and we try to connect to God the Father and the Spirit guy, right? Right. There's also a heart of creation. Remember, the reason why the creation is absolute inclusivity and unconditional love is because spirit and will are balanced, and all that's left is heart. That's why heart is the center. The all of creation can fit in heart. So if you're in your head, then you're out of balance. Yeah, that's how it goes. But all of language lessons of the heart is based on that internal atmosphere, the relationships between these four parts, which becomes the man, the woman, the adult, the child, every relationship you have, including government.
Right, and that goes back to the harmony within you. Then we'll act at the harmony without. And it's like I talk about, when we talk about a little bit from more of a scientific perspective and talking about quantum field, that quantum field, once it's restructured and harmonized, what it gives is that healthy, harmonized biofield, right? Once you harmonize that, and that what happens is that biofield affects the whole of the creation, because it's coming from the whole of the creation. It's coming from within the creation of it all. So this is why I say we, the human beings, and we are so powerful because of the consciousness that we carry. And we talk about making this process a conscious transformation, a conscious healing. So this is what gives us that awareness and that higher consciousness that many people are seek today in the spiritual world, in the spiritual teachings. They seek of that higher vibration and higher consciousness. But that comes from you aligning yourself with your higher being or your higher self within.
And your inner child. And, you know, you have to align with all of them. You have to heal.
You have to all of it has to be aligned, because all of that aligned then gives this harmonious field that you're talking about here, showing that is going from this harmony to this, which is in harmony, your biofield then in harmony.
Right.
And that's what it is. And that's the eternal pillar of self.
Right. And for the quantum, the reason why I have this image up there is because I want to talk about the quantum physics, okay? So who we are as a child and who we are in this pillar is the probability wave. That is, remember when I said the universe is absolute inclusivity?
Right.
That means it is the probability. Everything is in there, right? But when we get told no, it collapses the probability wave into a particular thing. I can't do that. So each one of these little dots, you know, is a collapse of your probability wave. You're supposed to be out here having fun. Like when kids play and they get told no, they have to stop what they're doing. That's what happens and that becomes discord. So you have harmony and discord. So when you get, you're at discord with your mother, she says, stop doing that. So then you carry that discord and that pain or that collapse. I can't be this free little child. I have to be this regulated little child. And that's what this is. It's a whole collection of very small things that add up to being, a life that's not worth living, a life that's not free, a life that's conditioned. Instead of being unconditional, it becomes conditioned. Yeah. Right. Instead of being loving, it becomes less than loving. And that's why we suffer.
Right. And we can't escape this suffering unless we take responsibility for cleaning our own mess and creating the life that we want.
And okay, remember what I started off with is that, as I said, that we become wounded by automatically, subconsciously, invisibly, and non-verbally. Yeah. Each one of those little discords actually has words connected to it. And these are the words which I call judgments that I found from people who have illness. And you just listen to these words that people have in their subconscious, like, my illness is a judgment from God. People have that. And that's a pretty tough nut to get beyond when you're telling your emotional body to believe that. I have to suppress my feelings of anger.
Here's your quantum entanglement right there.
There's a quantum entanglement. And this is why their relationships don't work, their body doesn't work, sometimes their liver doesn't work because of these kind of things. My feelings are unacceptable. Yeah. My feelings are ugly, or I'm ugly. Yeah. My feelings make me ugly. So they suppress their feelings. My illness helps me be strong. Some people are like that. They keep their illness because they think they have to be ill to be strong, right? Right. I must deny my illness. My illness is against me. And so they make their body their enemy. So what do you go? That's autoimmune disease, when your body is against you. You have these autoimmune diseases and all kind of stuff going on. This is what I'm saying. This is the house cleaning. What you're actually cleaning out is the thought and the feeling. The thought is the electric and the feeling is the magnetic. The thought of the spirit and the feeling is the will. And each one of these things has a feeling behind it. I'm afraid of being a functional, adjusted adult. If you're shamed every time you did something as a child, you're going to be afraid to be a functional adult. And that means you're not going to take care of yourself. You're not going to allow yourself to take care of yourself. So you're not going to do any healing work. You're not going to eat right because you're not a function. You can't be a functional adult. You're not accepted as a function, as a highly functional. You see what I'm saying? Every one of these things is a limit that are real for some people. And they're hard to get at because they're operating in your subconscious. And if they're in your subconscious, that's what manifests. And that's what manifests, and you call that fate. Oh, well, my family has a history of this kind of disease. Well, your family has a history of mother abuse. And so that's how it works anyway.
Right, and this brings us back, Michael, to where you're absolutely right. It's subconscious, and this is where those of us that are here to offer help for others, and so like what you do with your programs, how to help people to understand this, that how our subconscious work, and this is exactly what I am doing right now
Yeah.
too with
A lot of
Wellpoint.
You've got a good one.
Getting into that subconscious programming and cleaning it out, taking responsibility and taking the step. And so this is why I am here offering Wellpoint hypnosis sessions to others, is to help you to step in that, on that path to your own subconscious, to get to it. So then, because we can't deny, looking around us in our today's society, what we can't deny that this exists. You just listed a whole bunch of things that you got from your clients that are in their subconscious.
There's another list like that for relationships. There's another list like that for not doing work or not taking care of yourself, not taking responsibility. There's lists of these stuff. Now, not everybody has every one, but you only have to have 4 or 5 of those things for your whole life to be completely miserable forever. You know what I mean? Like some people have to feel like they have to sacrifice themselves for love. I have to sacrifice myself for my children. I have to sacrifice myself for my husband or my parents. And their whole life is this sacrifice, and they're miserable as hell. But they think that's what love is. And, you know, that's not what love is. And the husband hates them, and the kids resent them because they think the kids resent their mother because she's like this wimpy, you know, fix everybody thing. You know, so, and it goes on like that.
Right. This is what we talk about, is taking responsibility for yourself. And you don't have to do, you know, it doesn't have to happen. Take the steps. And I said, if it takes a baby steps to do something, as long as you anchor yourself in your true self and see the potential, look at the potential. When we understand who we truly are, that we are the source creator beings, that we do carry that within us, that the true self, the 5D you from 5th dimension, you are here. You're right here. And like I said, with having the ability to access that quantum field within, you understand that you can access that from past, future, into present, and make a change through your will, through aligning your will, and make the change in the now moment. And that change can happen like this once you step into it, and allowing yourself to do the healing work that you need to do. And once you are aligned, all of those things will show up. They will show up. You know, when you start cleaning the house, when you start looking underneath that couch, you know, you're going to see what you need to clean out. And once you start cleaning that out, you're going to see how beautiful, how amazing your house really is.
Yeah, it is.
And that's why we're here having these conversations and talking about healing. I've been talking about healing for years, and Michael, this is why I had you as a guest on this show today. So I want to thank you so much for being here today. I think we had a great show, and your program is so wonderful, and it's so easy. It's just like you viewers just seeing me here. I just demonstrated how easy it is to take.
And that's 1/4 of what I teach. Well, actually, half of what I teach, because if you have the empowerment and the talking to the parts of the self, and you develop them and do them a lot, that's half of what I teach right there. It's very simple. But remember, the closer you get to the core, the more simple it is.
Exactly.
Anyway, I have 50 videos that explain all this. It's all free on YouTube. Yeah.
All right. Do you want to tell our viewers, Michael, where they can find you YouTube? I'm of course gonna put that.
Yeah, there'll be a link. Just look for Michael Harrell, you know, or Language Lessons of the Heart, either one on YouTube, and it'll come up as a playlist or come up with my channel. And then I'm on Facebook, and I have a like page. I have a group. It's amazing. That group is amazing, man. The people who are coming to my group now are amazing, because everybody's waking up, right? Well,
yes,
now,
beautiful what is happening.
I've been focusing in on remember what I said, if mama's happy, everybody's happy, right? So when you start healing the will, as soon as it goes from the will, from your personal will to your higher self will, to the God, to the will of creation, right? The mother of everything. When it gets to there, then guess who's going to support that? God the Father, God of heart of creation. So there's this energy behind this to heal the will of creation, which is our personal will. Oh man, the energy in that group is just, if there's people coming in there, I don't know how I got here, but I'm starting to feel healing already. Just, they don't even know, they don't know anything about language, they don't even know who I am, they don't know anything. But just being in the group, they're going, you know, I'm feeling all this love and energy, and I'm so glad I found this group. They don't know they don't know anything, but they just feel this energy that you can't heal the past, you can heal your pain. There is an end of pain. Remember, you're infinite and immortal, and that pain had a beginning, and the pain will have an end. Denial had a beginning, and denial will have an end. You are immortal, so it will end, and you can end it.
And you can end it. And you can end it. You have the power. You have the power. And that's why like I said, I've been talking about this, because the power of this is so empowering. And so I am so excited that you have so many people that appreciate, and I know appreciate you sharing your wisdom. And so I too appreciate so much, Michael, for you sharing your wisdom, because now more than any time we can see that this wisdom is so needed for humanity. So I thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with me. And I would like, because it's so, your program is easy to follow, and it's doing a beautiful things. And there's so many people out there that are grateful for your group, like you said, and there are many people that are grateful for for these videos that I create. So I thank you everyone for watching. And if you would like to find more information about Wellpoint hypnosis that I'm doing, because those can be done online through like Zoom or Skype, and no problems with that. So we can do that. If you're interested, just send me a note for more information, or if you would like to schedule a session, let me know. We can do that too. And let's heal ourselves, and let's enjoy this process, because we already seen the results, and the results are beautiful and exciting, and it's already making changes in collective. Right? And before the show, we talked a little bit with Michael. So Michael, maybe next time we're gonna take it a little bit deeper, and let's next time maybe talk a little bit about what is this healing process is gonna do for bigger picture. What do you say?
Absolutely. I mean, we talked about basically two parts of what I teach, which is the empowerments and the and talking to the parts of self, but there's also emotion release and judgment and denial release, which are really, that's the pistons in the car that make it all work. But we talk about that. Well, it's like I said, I wanted to finish off with this. Like, I got a really, really kick-ass healing modality, perhaps one of the best in the world. But one shoe does not fit every foot. There's so many healers out there, so many great modalities out there, that if you need to start with somebody, or if you feel stuck, then find somebody who's a great practitioner of a modality that you can get behind, and it's worth the money. Because once you learn how to end your pain, you've ended your pain for the rest of your life. That's pretty amazing. It's worth whatever you can pay to do it. Right. So thank you for the love.
Thank you, Michael, for being on here.
Big fun.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Stay wild, everybody. Until next time, signing off, Lily Kolosova.
Michael Harrell.
See you next time.
Let me show you some of the things.
You know what, Michael? I started recording, because when you go into that and you just, what you talk so beautifully. So I'm just going to record it, and then I'm going to added all this. No, I'm recording. I'll cut this out and stuff like that. But what you said, it was so beautiful, because this is what we wanted to call this conversation is eternal core being. And without stepping into that, there is nothing external, no matter how much of stuff you do or how much of you do of that, information. You can get as much information about 5D until, you are full of it. But until
that's exactly what you are. You're full of it. You're full of shit.
You're full of shit, yes.
Yeah, because everything on TV is shit. Everything, the politicians are full of shit. The economy is full of shit. Money is full of shit. It's all lies. And at some point, when you point out there, you point like, oh, look, we got the politics, the religion, we got the AI, we got everything's full, everything's full of shit. You know what I mean? At some point, you absolutely have to see these other three fingers that are pointing back at you. You know what I mean? There's no actual healing. You cannot heal in a cesspool. Once you heal inside, you have to realize if the cesspool is out there, then it's inside here too. So that's why you want to heal what's going on inside of it. And what you actually do when you heal is you find the discord. You find the discord. I'll go back to here again, since where did it go?
This is what I talk about. And in the end of that video, then I erased all that stuff. And wrote a core self is what we start with. And that's how we expand from within out. And for us to be able to stand in that core self, in the eternal beingness of who you are, that eternal self, which is what you say, it's uncreated,
we're eternal, infinite, immortal, and what was never created.
And we're beautiful.
You see, because that energy, that magnetic energy that formed the stars, it's in the vacuum of the void, that 0 point energy, it was never created. And we are that energy. That's who we are to the core of our being. No identity, no personality, no point in time, none of that stuff is who we really are. We are really that vibrational energy of pure consciousness. And that energy itself is this. And this is important to know. The energy itself is absolute inclusivity and unconditional love. So whatever is exclusive is a drop in love. Okay? And this stuff over here is, and it looks like this, right? That is our core being. That is this whole, but it looks like this when we have discord, we have identity, we have traumas from the past, we have memories, we have archons, we have the collective unconscious, we have judgments, we have rules, we have guilt, we have shame, we have blame. All this stuff is inside of us, and that's why we don't feel. Oh, that's why we can be deceived. We can be deceived to say that there's a God above us. Well, there's no God above us. The God is the source field itself. There is no archons. Those are just shadows of our own, acceptance of what's not us.
Right. It's because it's projected from within out. We are the creator beings, right? And so we are responsible. And you talked earlier about responsibility, which I talk a lot about, is self-responsibility. And how that without self-responsibility, you can't operate in this empowered eternal state. You are not at your core if you don't understand the responsibility of self and creation, because you are not empowered creator being if you are not at your core, if you can easily be persuaded by a victim-victimizer field, right? And blame somebody else. Even the fact that you're pointing fingers at someone else already is a sign that you are not standing in your power, in that 0 point where you begin, like I say in my videos in the past, where you begin and you end. There is no external beginning or ending of you. It all starts with you and it ends with you. And the same with all the discord that we have. When we take responsibility for that, and we wanted to talk today about the eternal core being, or the foundation, or how to step into that. And the first thing, and you were talking about that taking responsibility for your own biofield.
Your own biofield, exactly. And your biofield holds the content of your consciousness. That means everything bad that happened to you, everything good that happened to you, everything you thought, everybody you've ever met. When you die and you go to heaven and you have this life review, you review everybody that you ever talked to and every interaction. And you can review it from two sides. You can be them, and you're reacting to you talking to them, and you can be you and seeing their reaction. You see what I'm saying? That's all recorded in your biofield. That goes with you when you die. Yeah? And what you want to pay attention to in this life is what goes with you when you die. Right? That's what karma is, because what you don't take care of when if you don't take care of what goes with you when you die, guess what? It doesn't get changed or healed or evolved in heaven. You come back again, and that becomes your karma, which is what Carl Jung calls your shadow being, because it becomes your fate, your destiny, your whatever the challenges that you have. Your challenges in this life, the challenges that you had in this life is a result of not being able to take care of your 5D reality in your last life, or the lifetime before that, the lifetime before that. Yeah?
Right.